It's a beautiful bacon day, Cookie Crusaders. Today we're going to be covering my current team that I'm using in Arena to grind out the top Master 1 Grandmaster tiers and why it's working pretty well. So we're going to start with Schwartz Cookie. Sorry, Schwartz, not a cookie, just you know what I mean. Anyway, Schwartz, what is happening here is the attack speed is our main focus. The Rose buff is going to be going to Schwartz, thus making it so the attacks are happening nearly at double speed. And so for that reason, we have almost, I can't say 100% chance of getting the stuns, but there's a 50% chance on normal attacks. If we double the amount of normal attacks, then we increase our odds. It doesn't make it 100% because you're still running 50% on each attack, so you just have more opportunity to get those stuns to land. In addition, our next highest attack speed is Caramel Arrow, but we're running critical toppings because we want to exert the most amount of damage while also taking advantage of the speed buff. We could do a full attack speed setup, but it wouldn't make a big enough difference since the robes are already going to Caramel Arrow. So for that reason, we just need to have good attack speed while running a topping that will deal a lot of damage, which in this case is going to be the critical toppings. We are also running critical toppings on our clotted cream. Now, some of these toppings are not perfect. There are ways to min-max them even better, and I can discuss that either in the comments or another video if you guys want, but this is just what I'm running right now. This is a high damage resistance focus with a little bit of critical resistance too. Everything was dumped into those stats as we want to make sure that clotted is just dealing a lot of damage and surviving as long as possible. And same goes for Black Pearl, giving a lot of damage resistance with some good cooldown focus so that we get those abilities off. So, if we go ahead and take it into Arena, it's not working against every team, but that's okay because there are counters to every team. This is probably one of them, and that's because Caviar is really good against Black Pearl and also really good at taking on basically tank-lacking teams. Yes, you could consider Schwartz a tank, but it kind of isn't, so for that reason, Caviar does a really good job against the team that we're running. And as you can see, Financier was buffing their Caviar, so their Caviar did a really good job. Granted, we got a lot of damage. Even with Caramel Arrow dying very quickly, we still got a lot of damage done. So that's going to be the team that will be a good counter against your team, where many of the other teams are not going to do as well. So be wary of Caviar with Financier like combos. Those are going to be probably your biggest pains to deal with, but a lot of the other teams are going to be able to handle pretty well. And I'm going to go through a few matches just so you can see plenty of different results. Alright, so let's move on to this one. Likely to be another Caviar team, we'll see. It is, and it's using Purple Yam. So as you can see, that's like the top tier team right now, what a lot of people are using. But if they don't have it set up completely perfectly, it does actually fall a little bit short in some instances. And as you can see here, we are getting a lot of good damage with our Caramel Arrow out and a lot of good damage from our Black Pearl. But their Caviar is still just what's really surviving a really good job. So, let's get a fresh new lineup. Okay, we've definitely got some teams here that are not running Caviar that we should be able to push through with pretty much ease. And so what's happening here is that Clotted is taking care of the front tanks, giving damage resistance to himself, but also giving opportunity to push through the mid lines and take down the enemies a lot faster. Caramel Arrow, of course, getting those critical shots in, big difference of what's happening. And sometimes it is RNG about how well the team works, because if you don't get the stuns from Schwartz, you're actually going to be falling a little bit short. So it is a risky team in that sense, because you are not necessarily banking on getting those stuns from Schwartz, but they are a very big essential of being able to actually take the win. So it is a give and take type of team. In most cases, such as this one here, it works. And because you only have one healer, and you don't have any other treasures focused on healing, or any tanks really truly protecting your team, you gotta really know when to line it up. I wanted to show you against the Caviar team what it would do. I actually don't normally fight it against the Caviar teams if I anticipate that they're going to be there, because I know it will lose. But teams like this, it just destroys. It absolutely demolitions a lot of other team setups. And that's mostly because of Caramel Arrow and Schwartz. Between the stuns and the high critical damage, you're just pushing through to a point where they can't really keep up. And you could see the difference in health bar here. We're both almost the same rank, and our team is just completely annihilating the enemy team without too much trouble. Granted, they had some good setup. They had the insignia to keep their cookies alive just a little bit longer, but overall, we're able to take the win. So hopefully, as you're watching this, you're seeing what you're going to potentially be running into and what it's going to mean for your PvP battles with these last few days before the rankings. Here's a good one too. Even though that's a scam team, and scam teams traditionally can push through and deal a lot of damage really quickly to enemy teams, because of our BTS cookie giving us stun immunities, and because of our Schwartz dealing stuns faster than the enemy team, we're actually able to completely counter the scam team altogether. Wasn't even a measure of difficulty against us. You can see here in the stats. Just wasn't able to handle it. So it really works well because of the way it's set up. I wasn't fighting that top team either because they did have Caviar. So here's a team that should not have Caviar, and even if they do not have Purple Yam. Okay, yeah, they do have Caviar. But without Purple Yam, they're not being able to push my cookies back into a specific position, and that's really the big catch of their team. Purple Yam and the Tornado from the Magic Candy does a really good job of realigning the position of cookies, and for that reason, that's why Caviar is able to do the maximum amount of damage when everyone's put together. Same with Black Pearl. In this instance, their Caviar was not able to do that. Let's go ahead and fight one more team, just to show you what it looks like. So here's a top 600. They're running Clotted, Black Pearl, and Vampire. And though their team is a very good team, it is still susceptible to the stuns that we are dealing and the critical damage from our Caramel Arrow. Now we do lose Caramel because of their Clotted that they are running, but our stuns are still doing a really good job. Overall, they probably have way more lab upgrades and way better min-max toppings for us to not actually be able to take that win. Because their Vampire did not overperform, their Clotted did not overperform. It was mainly their Black Pearl. As you can see, their Black Pearl did way better than ours, even though we have a good topping setup. That's okay, though. It's good for you guys to see this so you can get kind of comparisons of what you can expect or what you should expect when you go and take it into the PvP arena. So let me know in the comments and the feedback if you think this team is any good. It's what I'm personally using just because it's powerful, it pushes, it gets through a lot of team setups. It's not my only team I use. For that Caviar team, I'm using a combination between Summoners and also I'm trying a few other nuke combinations, but mainly this is the team that I've personally been using to push those last few days of the PvP arena before the ranking resets. So hopefully this is helpful for you guys. Thank you so much for stopping by, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.